Hello, this is Solstice Sims here. I have a Sims Blender dressing tutorial. I do apologize, there will be nudity in this video, obviously, but we will quickly change that. So you will need Sims 4 Studio to export your clothing to a blend file. So I have it open. You'll go to My Projects and you'll open up whatever item you're trying to put onto your sim. Here you have all the different swatches of whatever colors that the creator put on the file. So I would like to just export black hair. So first of all, I'm going to go to meshes and hit export mesh. And then I'm just going to name it whatever. And it might take a minute. And then once the mesh is exported, you're going to go to the texture tab and scroll down. Make sure it says diffuse. Hit export. Save it how you want. And then once we get into Blender, you'll have your character. Go to File, Append, and then you are going to append the item that you want. So I'll just start with the hair since I had that up first. Sorry, I just went super fast. You're going to double click the item you want, go to Object, and then you're going to select the items that say S4 Studio Mesh and ignore everything else. Then hit Append, and you can click the bone shape and delete it, and you can delete the rig as well. The hair is going to look really weird, so what I recommend is totally wiping the texture and re-entering it. To do so, you're going to come down here. Once you click on the hair, you go to Material, hit the X, hit New, go to Base Color, Image Texture, and then you're going to click Open. You can either click Open over here on the right panel or down here. To get it to look like this down here, you're going to drag up on the timeline. Usually it looks like this, but you want it to look like this for this purpose. It's the shader editor. So click the shader editor, hit open, and then now we are going to find the texture that we saved. And it still looks weird, and that's okay. Go down to Specular and turn the IOR level all the way down, and then connect your alpha node to the alpha node over here. And then we're going to come over here and click through each one of the studio meshes, and if it has this cutoff, this is like the hat mode, you can just delete it, and you're going to delete all of the unnecessary ones. So you don't necessarily need these ones. They're like these bulky, I don't even want to call it, they're like the undersides of the hair that kind of fill it. You don't really need it, so I'm just going to delete it. And I'm going to be left with this, although it still looks kind of weird. Let me see something really quick. Okay, we're going to keep this one, this under part. And since this one still has the old hair map texture, we can change it too. So on the hair that we already replaced a texture on, we can come over to the material side, double click on it, and we can just rename it to hair texture, if I can type. And then you can select right here to find it and apply it to the other part as well. And then you can just select both of them with Control over here. Move your mouse into the viewport and hit Control J to join them together. Then, as you can see, when you click it, the move gizmo is all the way at the bottom here. We kind of want it to be up here. So right click the hair, hit set origin to origin of center of mass, and it'll move it to the center of the hair, and then we can move it down. And then we still see that there's like the weird white lines going on here. We can come over into our shader window and change it from linear to closest, and then all those weird little white things will disappear. Now it doesn't exactly like fit well. It's clipping with her boob, and it's clipping with her shoulder. So we can fix that really easily. Come up here to the top left and go into sculpt mode. I usually recommend the elastic grab, as some people also like using the regular grab tool, but I'm going to use elastic. And then I'm going to just sculpt the hair to fit her body more. You can adjust the strength up here and the size here. Or you could also use the bracket keys on your keyboard. So now we have that on there. And then for now, I'm going to hide it. So I'm going to come over here into my right menu and hit the eyeball button, and it'll make the hair disappear. Now we're going to put some clothes on her because I'm tired of her being naked. Let's start with the shirts. You're going to do the same process to get it out of the Sims, or the same file or whatever, out of Sims 4 Studio. So again, you just go to My Projects and you open up the clothing or package file that you want, and then you can just export it the same way you did with the hair. To save time, I've already exported everything. I don't even know if it's all going to look good together, but we'll just pretend it looks amazing for the sake of the tutorial. So again, I went to append it up in File and Append, and I chose the Object folder. And now it's in here, but we have this weird issue with the arms showing, and that obviously doesn't work. So we're going to hit Tab, or you can come up here and go into edit mode and make sure that this X-ray mode is turned on up here in the top right corner. And we're going to go over and just start hitting L over the vertices where we don't want like this base mesh body to be. Then once you have those selected, you're just going to hit delete and vertices, and that leaves us with just the shirt. And once again, right click it, set the origin to the center, and we can adjust it a little bit. I'm going to size it up just a little bit. And now we're going to go into sculpt mode again. And come up here to the top. We're going to hit X to turn symmetry on. The neckline is not really symmetrical, so we'll see what it does. If needed, we can just turn symmetry back off. And then we're going to sculpt it as well as possible. You see this like extra bit here. I don't usually like keeping that on, so I'm going back into edit mode. I'm changing it over to vertices up here, and I'm just going to delete this like inner line if I can. Sometimes you have to click more than once, but just be careful that you're not clicking the wrong thing, which is kind of easy to do. And should be all of it. And I'm just deleting. And see, now we're left with like a cleaner mesh that's going to fit the body better. And honestly, usually I recommend, like, if you're sculpting something that's supposed to be really close to the body, like fitting flush with it, I would start smaller and then size up, because that way it gives it less of a baggy look and more of a like clinging to the body sort of appearance, if that makes sense. Like, I'm sculpting in here to her stomach, and then I'm going to just very carefully pull it back out so it's as close fitting as possible. And looks like there's some more skin down here, so I'm going to delete that. Obviously, it doesn't have to be entirely perfect, especially like if you're not even showing the back of your Sim's body. It doesn't always have to be like perfect in the back. If there's like clipping, if it's not showing on camera, like it doesn't really matter. But this is looking pretty decent. And now the shirt has all these little gemstones on it, and I kind of want them to sparkle. So there's two different things that you can do. The first one is we're going to go back into edit mode, and then we're going to hit L on the shirt. It might take some clicking to get it all, selected. There's also these buckles, so I think I would like that to be shiny. So once we have the shirt selected, hit Control and P over the viewport and selection. And it's going to separate these little gemstones from our shirt and the metal pieces. So you could always go over here to your materials tab, selecting the shiny bits, and hit the X to make a new material. You can change it to glossy and turn the roughness down, and that'll make them shiny. You can also like change the color of them if you want to. Or if you have Blender Kit, which I have, it's an add-on, I can link to it. You can also go into the materials tab and type in like silver or like metal or something like that, and then you can actually just click and it will apply a whole texture for you. So now our little sparkly bits are actually going to shine and reflect the light. When you are done with that, you can go ahead and join them together. Just make sure that they have the same UV name. So I'm just going to copy and paste the one from the shirt and put it onto the sparklies, which you can do that by going to the data tab right here, going to UV maps, and then make sure that this is the selected one and rename it the same, which this one already has it, so I can just click this and it'll be fine. Now we're going to select both with Shift and click, Control J, and it'll join them together for us. So now we have the shirt done, and I'll go ahead and label it over here so we don't lose track of what we're working with. Now we're going to do the pants. Again, delete the bone mesh, delete the rig, and we are left with pants. right click, set origin to center of mass, and let me see how it would be best to shape it to her body. Going to scale it up a little tiny bit. And now we're going to go into tab mode. And we're going to delete this extra stuff that we don't need. And once again, it has these like filler parts to the mesh, so I'm going to delete those too. And sometimes pants are a little bit weird because when it has those like inner pieces, sometimes it's actually connected to the front of the pants. So I'll just have to make sure that it's okay. But I mean, it looks fine right now. And then I'm also going to come down to the bottom and L click on these little, again, it's like a filler thing. I think it's to like keep the pants from looking wonky in game, but we don't need it in Blender. Now that we've done that, we can go into sculpt mode, turn our symmetry tool on, and then we're going to start sculpting. And again, sometimes it's just better to go with the like smaller fit and then sculpt it upward or outward, I guess, just so that it looks more like fitting to the body. And pants are definitely a lot trickier than like dresses or skirts. Okay, so now we're at this part where it's like the internal part of the pants. And it is annoying because it's like, oh, like you try to pull it and it doesn't really like go all the way sometimes. So the easiest thing to do, I found, go into edit mode, hit A on your keyboard to select all, go to mesh, and then merge by distance under cleanup. And what we're going to do is go back into sculpt mode and use the inflate tool. And this will allow us to just, you know, blow it up. And now there's not a gap inside of her legs. And then we're going to try to fit the waistband. It's so honestly annoying trying to get the waist to fit. But with some tweaking, you can get it pretty close. It definitely takes some patience. And along the waistband, you might find that you want to use the grab tool more than the elastic grab, just because it's a little more controlled. And then I always try to do my best to make sure that it's all lined up really nice and neat, because it kind of makes a difference, like in your pictures, like when the lines are neat. It just makes it look a lot cleaner than when they're like uneven or jagged. So that looks good enough to me. And once again, there are little metal bits on her pants. Going into edit mode. In this case, it might be faster to just select the metals themselves. Last time it was faster just to click the whole shirt and delete the shirt instead of all the little individual pieces of the rhinestones. So now I have these metal bits selected. I'm going to hit P, separate by selection. And since I already have a silver material in here from Blender Kit, I can just come over to material and type in silver and it'll apply it for me. going to make sure that the UV maps are the same, selecting both with Shift in the viewport and hitting Control J to join them. Low key, these jeans look a little bit weird. That's okay. We're just gonna pretend that she doesn't look kind of weird right here. Okay, now we're gonna put the shoes on. Again, I'm deleting that, deleting the rig, and I'm going to click the jeans and hide them so that I can see the shoes better. And since we have these little base things again, hitting Control. I'm hitting Tab to go into edit mode. And I'm going to delete the skin texture parts. Honestly, it would make this easier on myself. I recommend just deleting one whole shoe and leaving the other one. Because we can just duplicate it and flip it. It makes it a lot easier. Which honestly, I think it might be easier to select the whole shoe than each toe. Look, there's a lot of messing around in Blender to do things like the fastest or easiest way. It's a lot of trial and error, if I'm being honest. Since I am working with a sculpted sim, I have the luxury of being able to use heel shape keys. So I'm just going to very slightly turn it on and try to make it match the heel. Okay, I'm just going to sculpt this, I think. Yeah, okay. We are sculpting it. Okay. Ignore the fact that my sim does not have actual toenails on. Yeah, she definitely needs a pedicure. That's okay, she'll get one eventually. Just pretend she doesn't have crusty ass toes. So now that we have one shoe on, let's just say, for example, like just for funsies, that we don't want it to be white. Well, here's a little trick for you. Just going to reorganize this really quick so I can see everything better. If I come down here to the shoe, then I can change the color of it by hitting Shift A, Converter, and Color Ramp, and putting it between the color and base color of the image and then the principled BSDF. Now, you can take this and you can change the color of it. So let's just say I want like a cute little pink color to match her shirt. Now it's pink. So now I can just hit Shift and D to duplicate the shoe. Come up to Object, Mirror, X Global, and that's going to flip it for us. Then we can drag it right over onto the other foot, and it saves us time of having to sculpt both feet. Now you might need to still make some adjustments. I I probably would have done that before I flipped it, but I'm not trying to take an hour on this video. So now we have the shoes on. I'm gonna name them so I don't lose track of them. Put the jeans back on. And we're gonna make the jeans fit the shoes. Looking pretty cute to me. Okay. And then I do have a necklace we can put on her. Again, I don't know how good it's gonna look. We're figuring this out together in terms of if this is a fashion nightmare or not. So, delete the bone shape, delete the rig. And now there's two different files. We do not need this one because it's just a square. It's just something for the game. We don't need it in Blender. So delete that. And it just leaves you with this necklace. Moving the origin to the middle. And now you're going to do your best to try to get it like as close as possible to being lined up. And then we are going into edit mode, or sculpt mode, my apologies. I have elastic grab on, and then I'm just going to edit it. It's a little bit tricky to edit necklaces, honestly, because like when you sculpt them, sometimes it makes them look kind of wonky, especially when they have like these pendants down here. So I would just try your best to like retain the original shape as much as possible. If it's not perfect, like I don't think anyone's getting a compass or ruler out to like measure your necklaces to an exact T. You see it looks a little bit squished. I'm just gonna like try to make it look a little better. And then I really get in there and I just try to make sure that it's as close to the skin as possible without clipping, of course. And then I'm going to just adjust the shirt over it because I believe a shirt would probably be going over the necklace rather than under it. So now we have a little necklace, and for this, it's a pretty basic just metal necklace, so I'm just going to put on that silver shader on it that we had before. And man, I don't know what the heck is going on with these pants. They just like do not, I just don't think I put them on right. Oh, that's a little better. Okay. She has some weird shape going on there. I don't even know. Okay. Okay. Good enough. And when you actually like pose your sim and you have the camera set up, then you can go in again with sculpt tool and just make sure everything's like straight looking. Okay, that looks a lot better than it did. Okay, now I'm going to put the hair back on. And now that we have the whole outfit together, which it looks okay. It's not like my favorite, but it's okay. We're going to select everything. And then we are going to control click on our rig. The rig is going to be the last thing that you select. So select your rig, move your mouse to the viewport, and then you're going to hit Control P, which is set parent to in this case, and then armature deform with empty groups, and it's going to put everything on your Sims rig. Now, since I have my sim in a collection folder and all the other stuff is outside of it, it's not like showing up correctly, so I'm just going to move it all into my collection, which is right here. So now when I open my sim rig, you're gonna see everything inside of it. And now I'm just going to test to make sure that everything is working right. I'm going to go to my rig, go into pose mode. I'm going to open up the dope sheet and hit the root bind. And I just like rotate it around. I have another rig in here. I'm just going to hide it. Okay. And everything looks connected to me, except this shoe is still weighted to this foot. So to fix that, we are going to select the Sim's body, and then select the shoe, go over to weight paint, weights, transfer weight, change active layer to by name just for the source layers part, and now it should work. And this is why we test it. Whoops. And it works. Yay! Now, I don't like that it's doing that. Let me see if I can fix it. This honestly isn't really something that I usually see with Sims clothes, so I don't know why it's doing it in this case. But we are going to go back into, click the pants, go back into weight paint, come over to our data tab, and we're going to go through our vertex groups. And then I'm going to try smoothing the weights to see if it helps to like not do that. So I'm clicking the ones that are related to the clothing article, which in this case is going to be like the calves and the thighs and the pelvis, the thigh twists, the feet, the toes, maybe even, and the smooth brushes, or it's called blur. So you're going to take the blur brush and smooth out the weights. They're looking a little rough, so maybe that's why it's doing that. But like sometimes because we're using like sculpted bodies that are not like the original Sim body, it can sometimes like not be weighted correctly. And that leads to like glitches in the clothes after you pose them. So those are not fun to deal with, so we want to take care of them before we do any posing. Let's see if it worked. If not, then okay. Period. It didn't really work. So when you're actually posing, if it's like glitching out like this, what you can do is sculpt it. I recommend putting it on a shape key, which you go to data, shape keys, hit the plus button twice until it says key 1, and just drag this value up to 1 object, and then go to sculpt mode, and then you can just like sculpt it and it'll, oops, I had symmetry on. You can sculpt it and it looks better. Yeah. I'm just going to reset her pose. And remove the shape key I just put on because it was just there for an example. But yeah, that is how you dress your sim in Blender. It's super easy. It's a lot, more flexible than dressing your sim in cast because you can make it all fit your sim's body perfectly and adjust the hair how you want it. But yeah, that is how you dress your sim. If you have any questions, just let me know, and have a good evening.